Welcome. This is second lecture on group theory video lecture series, and in this video I am going to discuss about symmetry group. We will understand this symmetry group with the help of an example, that is example of D3 group, which is a symmetry group of a equilateral triangle. I will show you the concept of multiplication table and rearrangement theorem. Before proceeding to this video, you must watch the first video on this lecture series so that you can understand all the basic of a group theory. Symmetry and symmetric transformation are very important topic of a physics, as the collection of symmetric transformation made a symmetry group. That's why symmetry group has an important place for a physicist in group theory. Before proceeding to what is symmetry group, we must know what is symmetry transformation. Any transformation which leaves system invariant, that kind of transformation we call symmetry transformation. Let's see example. The example 1 is rotation of a circle about an axis passing through center and perpendicular to the plane of the circle. That means if you rotate this circle with any amount about this axis, then your system of this circle remain invariant, right? If you rotate it by 1 degree or 100 degree, it will remain same. That is, system is invariant. Therefore, rotation of this circle about this axis is called symmetry transformation. Similarly, we can think about permutation of two identical atoms in a molecule. Suppose your molecule contain n number of atoms and those atoms are identical, then if you permute the position of any two atoms, still your molecule is same. That is, your molecule is invariant. For an example, this is a molecule. A simplest molecule consists of two identical atoms. If you interchange the position of these two atoms, the system remains invariant. Therefore, this is also a symmetric transformation. Suppose you have a system and this system has n number of symmetric transformation. Then if you collect all those n number of symmetric transformation, then it will form a group, and that group is called symmetry group. In other words, symmetry group is a group of all transformation under which the object is invariant. Okay. We will understand this symmetry group with an example. Here we will take example of symmetry of equilateral triangle, and this is the group formed by the symmetric transformation of an equilateral triangle. We will call it D3 group. Look here, just take one equilateral triangle, mark the corner of triangle by A, B and C, and the position of the corner by 1, 2 and 3. Now if you rotate this triangle about its common axis by an angle 360 degree, your system remains same. Therefore, this rotation by 360 degree is called symmetric transformation for this triangle. Let's denote that transformation by symbol E. In similar way, rotation by 120 degree will also leave your system invariant. Okay. Therefore, the rotation by 120 degree is also a symmetric transformation. Mark it by symbol A. In similar way, rotation by 240 degree is also a symmetric transformation. Reflection about this axis, about this line, leaves your system invariant. Therefore, reflection about this line is also a symmetric transformation. Mark it by C. Similarly, reflection about BD, reflection about CE. All these 6 are the symmetric transformation for this equilateral triangle. Okay. Now there is no other symmetric transformation exists for this system. Therefore, if we make a set out of these 6 elements, then this set is called symmetric group. Okay. And this is the symmetric group of a equilateral triangle. This group is also known as a dihedral group, and for a triangle it is D3. Why? It is a dihedral group of 3-sided polygon. So if you have an n-sided polygon, then we will call it Dn, dihedral group of n-sided polygon. Okay. So this is a symmetric group but has a special name D3. Okay. Now I am saying that this set is a group. Okay. But in order to prove it, I have to show that all the property of a group is satisfied for this set. Before going to prove that, let's see what will happen if we operate these transformations on this system? If we apply this transformation, that is rotation by 360 degree, then rotate this triangle about this axis perpendicular to the plane, and then you will see the system remains same. Therefore, we call this transformation is identity transformation. Okay. In similar way, if you rotate it by 120 degree, that is if you apply this transformation A, then you will find out that position of A, B, C change, and now the new position of A is 2, new position of B is 3, new position of C is 1. In similar manner, if you apply this transformation, that is rotation by 240 degree, you will find out the new position of A is 3, new position of B is 1, new position of C is 2, right? You have to just rotate it about the axis perpendicular to this plane passing through this point. Why I am doing it, it will be clear in a minute. Now, reflection about this AF line, that is application of transformation C, it will turns out to be like this. Position of C and B will interchange. Similarly, reflection about this line BD, position of A and C will interchange. And the final one, reflection about this CE line, then the position of A and B will interchange. Now we have seen when we apply this transformation on the system, what will be the resultant state. With this, we are in the state where we can verify all the properties of a group. What is first property of a group? Closure property. If you take the product of any two element of a group, then the resultant element must belongs to that group. For example, for this set, if we take the product between B and A, then the result of this must be lies in same group. Then we will only say that closure property is satisfied. So just apply this BA transformation on this triangle. So what we have to do, we have to first apply this A transformation, that is rotation by 120 degree. We have just seen when we rotate this system by 120 degree, the resultant system will be like this. Position of A, B and C will change. New position of A is 2, new position of B is 3, new position of C is 1. Now what we have to do, we have to apply this B transformation. And what is this? This is rotation by 240 degree. Now just rotate it by 240 degree. Once you rotate this by 240 degree, the new position of A will be 1. New position of B will be 2 and new position of C will be 3. And we have seen that when we apply identity transformation, that is rotation by 360 degree, the system remains same. Therefore, we can write this system like this also. Okay. Once you operate this operation E on this system, it will remain same. Now we can compare these two. From here we will get BA equals to E. That is product of two element of a group is equals to E, and this E lies in the group. Therefore, closure property is satisfied. Here I have showed for just one case. You can try to find out for any combination. Okay, by this method, at the end you will find out that closure property is satisfied for all the elements. Now let's see whether all the properties satisfied or not. Then only we will call this D3 as a group. First property is closure property. We have just seen the example. Product of B and A is equals to E. That is, product of B and A is lies in this group D3. Therefore, closure property is satisfied. You can try for any element. You will find out that this property is satisfied. Second property of a group is existence of identity. We have seen when we apply a transformation E on this equilateral triangle, the triangle remains same. Okay, so E is an identity element. Third property is existence of inverse. What it mean? It mean if you multiply any element by its inverse, then the resultant element must be identity element. If you look this one, here we have multiplied B by A and we have seen the resultant is E. And we just seen that E is an identity element. Therefore, A is inverse of B or vice versa. The fourth one is associative property. And we know any transformation obey associative law. Therefore, this group must obey the associative property. All the four conditions of group is satisfied. Therefore, D3 is a group. Okay. Now, look this closure property. B times A is equals to E. Similarly, you can find out product of any two element. B times C equals to something. A times E equals to A. B times E. In similar way, you can find out many relations, right? We need to find out a way to write this relation in a compact way. And that compact way is provided by multiplication of a group. Table representing the product of group element. You can write this table for any group. As we are taking the example of D3 group, so I will show you the multiplication table for D3 group. This is the multiplication table. How you can make a multiplication table? First, you have to arrange all the elements in a column, and then you have to arrange all the elements in a row. And this is a kind of first operation and this is a kind of second operation. So we have just seen when we multiplied B by A, we got E. And there we have applied A as a first operation, then we have applied B, that is B times A. Okay. And the corresponding place must be filled by the resultant element. So B times A and the corresponding place is this one. So this will be E. If you make a product between A and C, you will find out resultant element will be F. Therefore, A times C and the corresponding element will be F. So this is the resultant element due to the product between two elements. Second operation multiplied by first operation and corresponding element will be here. A times A is B. Take any random one. D times C is D times C is B, right? Now, after looking at this multiplication table, you will find out the importance of multiplication table. How? From this multiplication table, you can verify the closure property. If all these resultant element will belongs to the group, then we will say the closure property is satisfied. Second, you can easily verify the existence of identity. Look here. Multiplication of E with any element, resultant element is same element. Therefore, E is identity. Similarly, you can verify the inverse. You just take two elements whose resultant element is E, like this case A and B, and the resultant is E. Therefore, B is inverse of A. In similar way, if you take C and here is E, therefore C is the inverse of C. In similar way, you can find out the inverse of any element, you can find the identity element, you can verify the closure property. So if I'll give you the multiplication table, you will get the complete information about the group. One point to note here that ordering of row and column in writing down multiplication table is immaterial. That is, if you wish, you can write B here, A here, and then find out multiplication table accordingly. So ordering of A, B, C, D is immaterial. If you want, you can write E, C, D, A, B, whatever you want. Okay. Another point, if you look this multiplication table carefully, then you will find out no element appear twice in a row or in a column, right? Each element in a row is unique and each element in a column is unique. This form a basis for a rearrangement theorem. So what is that? Rearrangement theorem is a rule for a multiplication table of a group, and it says every element will only appear once in a row and in a column. How we can prove it? Let's assume, for time being, let's assume that an element D occurred twice in a column corresponding to element A first operation. Okay. Now what it mean? It mean you must have two elements which is for the second operation. Let's say that is B and C, such that B multiplied by A is D and C multiplied by A is D. If this condition satisfy, then only D will appear twice in a column. Okay. Now just multiply A inverse from the right side in both equation. What is A inverse? A inverse is I. I means identity. Okay. Now what is B into I? That is B, because if you multiply identity with any element, the result will be same element. Therefore B is equals to dA inverse, and similarly C is equals to dA inverse. What it mean? It mean B is equals to C if you compare these two equation, but this cannot be true for a group. Group element must be distinct. Therefore, the assumption which we started with, that is D occurs twice in a column, is not valid because it leading to a contradictory conclusion. D occurs twice in a column is not valid, which means no element occurs twice in a column. In similar manner, we can show that no element occur twice in a row. Okay. So hope all this explanation is clear to you. See you in next lecture. Thank you.